Hi there, this is Kailash from PMP. The Project Management Institute, they change the examination pattern, the course content almost every 5 to 6 years. They do it in order to improve the quality of the test and also the quality of the course so that it will be most useful in the real life while implementing the methods while doing the projects by the project manager. So recently, starting from 2nd of January 2021, there has been a big overhaul to the earlier standards of project management certification test and also the course content, question types, number of questions, the way the examination is done, and to an extent a little bit to the application process also. Let's discuss that in detail. Okay, so for all of those who have already been familiar with the earlier standard of project management certification test, you know that the fundamental blocks were the process groups and knowledge areas. We used to have 5 process groups and 10 knowledge areas, and we used to have around 134 plus tools and techniques. Each of those tools and techniques used to have a series of inputs, outputs, and we used to have around 49 processes, and the project management methods was slightly poor waterfall things. So what they have replaced it with, now we have got something known as domains. I'll explain about these things in the next slide, and tasks and enablers. So these are the 3 things they have brought in place of this knowledge areas, process groups, tools, techniques, inputs, outputs, etc. Okay, and the project management method is very much pro-agile. It has been found that 1 out of every 4 projects in the world today are using agile method, and it is anticipated that by next 5 years almost half of the projects in the world will be adopting the agile method. So the Project Management Institute is also adapting to this change, and this new course content is very much agile centric. I won't say that it is completely agile, because as you know, construction industries or typical brick and mortar industries, they do pretty well with the predictive model of project management, or what we call is otherwise the waterfall model of project management. So that is still there. Yeah, so the predictive model is there, the agile method is there, and the hybrid method, which is a combination of both, will also be there, but the emphasis is given to the agile as much as it deserves a position. Okay, so there are 3 pillars of project management as per this new guidelines. What are those 3 pillars? People, process is also pillar, and business environment. So these are the 3 pillars. Okay, on these 3 pillars the project management stands. So we can say these are the 3 basic areas in which you will be doing the project management. So half of that area is covered by the process domain. Each of those areas is known as a domain, and the name of the domain is process domain. It comprises of activities related to the standards, methodologies, etc. Out of the remaining half, around 42% of the area is related to people domain. So this is 50%, and the remaining 8% are related to business environment. So people, process, and business environment. Inside each process we'll be having something known as tasks. Okay, tasks. So for example, if you see in the people domain, we have got 14 tasks. Okay, and in the process domain we have got 17 tasks. In the business environment domain we have got 4 tasks. Okay, so example, let's say in the process domain there is a task known as engage stakeholders. So if engage stakeholder is a key activity that you will have to do in this process, and in order to accomplish this task you have to do some activities which are being exemplified by the PMI. For example, in this task of engage stakeholders, one of your activities is analyze the stakeholders, and categorize the stakeholders, and communicate accordingly. So these are the 3 basic activities you will be doing in order to engage the stakeholders, and it could be more. It's just an example for you to understand. So these are the enablers. in order to accomplish the task. Means they help to get the task done. Okay, and in this process, so this is a very brief introduction what the people, process and business environment is. I will have a separate video wherein you can have a complete detail about what they are. Also, you can go to the PMI site wherein you can see the details. Yeah, please follow the description. I'll have a detailed link to the materials where you can get more information. All right, let's discuss on the exam pattern. You remember that earlier you used to have 200 questions. Now you will have 20 questions less, 180 questions. It's a good news, isn't it? So let's discuss on the exam pattern. You remember we have got 200 questions in the earlier PMP test. Now we'll have 180 questions. So 20 questions less. It's a good news, isn't it? But out of the 200 questions, only 175 questions were used for evaluation earlier. Now also they will be using 175 questions for evaluation. And the remaining 25 questions earlier used for pre-test. Now 5 questions will be used for pre-test. Some of you might be fully aware of what are these pre-test questions and what are these evaluation questions. As a test taker, you will have no idea which is a pre-test question and which is an evaluation question. Just to give you a brief about the rationale behind this, actually, tests like PMP certification tests are psychometric tests. In psychometric test, what happens? The question levels, difficulty, and few other characteristic changes from question to question. And PMI would like to have a track of that. One example is the level of difficulty. This is just an example, okay? There are many other characteristics that might be considered. Is that, let's say if you answer the question correctly, the next question that you'll get is a tougher one. Okay, and if you did that still correctly, you may get a tougher one, and accordingly your score will go up. Okay, this could be one of the adaptive methods of. We'll be having 230 minutes, that is 3 hours and 50 minutes. So earlier the test was 4 hours, and now the 3 hours 50 minutes, and you'll having 20 questions less, so which is not bad. And in this case you have got two options, I mean two optional breaks. The questions, 180 questions will come in blocks, 60 questions, 60 questions, and 60 questions. Once you are done with the first block of 60 questions, you can opt for a 10 minutes break, and once you come back you can answer second block of 60 questions, then you can go for another 10 minutes break, then you finish the last set of 60 questions. This is very good, but one catch is that you cannot go back to the questions. You have to submit completely and you have to ignore that. Yeah, so this is about the time of the questions. And what about the question types? What about the question types? You remember earlier all the questions were multiple choice questions, but now there will be a variety of questions. The question can be multiple choice, it could be fill in blank, it could be matching, drag and drop, or it could be hotspot also. So what is a matching question? It's self-explanatory, but just to give you an idea, let's say we have got two columns, and one is domain, and other one is task. Then you can be asked which task falls into which domain and vice versa. This could be one of the matching questions, but this is an oversimplification, and you will be asked to drag and drop things also between these two columns. That could be drag and drop question. And the next one is the hotspot questions. We might be aware that in our geography exam we'll be given a map, and we have been asked to spot a place. For example, this is the map of my country, India. Okay, and in the geography test I might be asked a question, can you spot the capital of India, New Delhi? It's here. Similarly, you will be given a picture with a process flow diagram or whatever, and you have to spot a place in the picture which will be pertaining to a particular process or activity or a destination that is the correct answer. So those are the hotspot questions, and this is the very new kind of questions that have been introduced. The biggest one is multiple correct answers. Earlier all the questions we had got only one correct answer, but now we can have one or more than one correct answers, and you will be getting score only when all the correct answers are marked. What about Let us find out what are the changes brought to the training. You remember earlier the training was provided by the training providers known as REP, Registered Education Providers. So this REP is being replaced by something known as ATP. So is REP ATP same? No. So ATP stands for Authorized Training Providers. So what does it mean? Earlier, what happened is if someone is a PMP certified personnel, he was eligible to deliver training, PMP certification training. But now, apart from being PMP certified, the trainer has to undergo a training by the PMI for a couple of days and get authorized by the Project Management Institute and certified to deliver the training. So it is good because it will bring in extra rigor and it will improve the quality of the training. So that is the first thing. And the second option is that you can take training either directly by the PMI or you can take it by ATP. So when you take the direct training by PMI, it is a self-study training. I would still recommend that please take the training by the ATP because it is a live interaction. So live interaction has got a value addition that will be missing when you are doing the self-study. But if you are comfortable doing the self-study, since many of us have become comfortable doing everything digitally on the wake of this COVID, then you may opt for self-study training. But I would recommend ATP based training. Okay. Then the third point is all the trainings are controlled and awarded directly by the PMI, irrespective of whether you are taking the training on the self-study mode from the PMI or you are taking the training from one of the ATPs. The trainings are controlled directly by the PMI. And if you look at the course materials, even the course materials are given by the PMI. Even if you will take the training from an ATP, ATP will not be able to give a course material to you on their own. They have to get the course material from PMI and they have to give it for you. That's why they will be charging some extra bucks for that. And okay, the next big question is that how it will impact you as a test taker. Okay, my first point is that now the next big question is that how it will impact you as a test taker and how you should make your strategy accordingly so that you will get the best out of it. My first point is that it won't matter much where you would get trained. Of course, as I have recommended, you should go for an ATP because the live interaction is good. But it won't matter much in the sense that the course material is same and the course content is same and the training will be more or less uniform and undiluted wherever you take it, okay, in that sense. So that is a good thing. And second point is when you apply for the PMP test, please opt to take the test from a testing center, not from home. Am I discouraging you? Yeah, in a way you can say that, but let me put forth the points and you can take a judicious decision on the drawbacks or the challenges when you take the test from home. So unless and until you are compelled to take it or you're extremely comfortable taking it, I won't recommend you to take the test from home. So what are the challenges? First one is that you have to identify a secluded room, and that room should be free from noises or any kind of interference of the family members while you are taking the test. And if by mistake someone enters into the room, then your exam will be terminated. So even if you have taken care of everything, but if something happens and somebody enter, then it's gone. Second, your desk has to be 100% clean. Apart from your computer, nothing can be kept there. Even you cannot keep a paper and a pencil. No food items, nothing. Anything found there, you will not be allowed to continue with the exam. So, no items on the desks. Then the third thing, you cannot go away from the camera even for fraction of a minute. If, for example, you will bend down to pick up something, and you'll be away from the camera, then your exam will be terminated. Your exam is a proctored exam and you are under surveillance continuously. So, which is very terrible. Okay. So, with camera all the time. And the fourth point is that you cannot take breaks. Okay, this is a huge one, because if you are appearing the test in the center, you will be allowed to take two breaks, 10 minutes each, after completing the first 60 questions and the second block of 60 questions. But when you are taking the test from home, you are not allowed to take any break. You have to sit continuously for 3 hours and 50 minutes, and you cannot bend to an extent that you will be away from the camera. You cannot use pen and pencil to do mathematical calculations, which is, which is not something very comfortable thing for some of you, when you do the calculation using the screen and with a mouse. Yeah. And the next thing is that you have to make sure that the internet is always there, the high speed internet is available, and there is no. Okay. Then the last point is that the power outage. If you are living in an apartment which doesn't have a backup system, or in a place where there is a frequent power cut, then that will be a problem. So you have to make sure that there is no power outage and you have got sufficient electricity backups in case there is an outage, and this is your responsibility. So that is another challenge. Okay. So I would say that as a test taker, you please focus on writing the response to the questions rather than bothering about all this logistics. Leave it to the center. Okay, that's why I would recommend don't take the test from home unless you're comfortable. Then third point is build expertise on the mathematical questions. I have always been very fond of the mathematical questions because I know that they are the deal breakers. If you're pretty good in mathematical questions, it has got two advantages. First of all, they are pretty scoring, and they have got a very definitive answer, which is very quick to know. Unlike the conceptual questions where you might be wondering what could the right answer, and the mathematical questions are very pinpointed. Okay, and they will help you really score good. Sometimes the mathematical questions become the deal breaker. If you don't know the answer to them, most likely you may not even be able to qualify unless you have done pretty good in the conceptual questions. So I would suggest have a thorough hold on the numerical questions. Some people, they falter in that and they pay heavily. Then next point is please practice questions. Practice will help you in two ways. Practice at least 2 to 3 sets of questions. It will help you in two ways. The first is that it will increase your efficiency. And second benefit it will give you is that you will know what are the different categories of questions that you'll face, or the familiarity that you'll get is that will be very helpful during the course of your exam. Okay. And the time management of the efficiency is also extremely crucial, because I know people who are pretty good, and they know the answer to the questions, but they run out of time, and they could not make it in the exam. Okay. So please practice as many questions. You can look at the description below for more information. Then this is for those people who are making a transition from the old pattern of examination taking. They have been old test takers, or at least they have been preparing for the PMP prior to the 2nd of Jan 2021, and they are making a transition to this new pattern of examination. I would request you, please make sure that you unlearn PM Box 6 guide and get used to the new standard of this domain starts and others. While you are responding to questions, respond the questions in these lines of thoughts. So these are my 5 golden rules to make sure that you are preparing well for your PMP. More information will be coming. Thank you very much for watching the video. I wish you all the best for your PMP certification test.